Hello, I am Greg Harris, President of Watson Title Services of North Florida, and welcome to Part 4 of our series of videos that will provide an overview of the new settlement statement, now known as the closing disclosure, that will take effect for all mortgages written after August 1st, 2015. We know there are a lot of changes coming up, and we're here to help you understand these changes and how they will impact buyers, sellers, and their real estate professionals. You can access this and a larger series of training sessions over at Watson Title Services of North Florida's YouTube page. This way you can view it and other videos as many times as you'd like to, and at a time that best fits in with your schedule. At the end of the video, and at the bottom of each slide, you will find our email address and phone number. If you have any questions or would like clarification on a point or two, please reach out to us. If you don't already have a copy of the closing disclosure that I'm using as an example throughout the series, just drop me an email at gregharris@watsontitle.net and I'll send you a PDF. Now let's go ahead and look at pages 4 and 5. At first glance, pages 4 and 5 seem just to be informational, but there's a lot more here than just the fine print. Like we have on the other pages, let's go through these pages section by section so you're able to point to your customers and tell them exactly what is on these pages and how the information is important to their closing. In this way, you also have enough of a background to answer the questions as they come up. As always, though, be careful you don't provide advice or try to interpret what is on pages 4 and 5 except for exactly what is there, as you might wander into a position of practicing law. What is okay to do is to discuss where to send the consumer to get additional information as they may need it. Now let's start with page 4, and hold on because this is going to go rather fast. Page 4 begins with a box that discloses to the consumer if the loan is assumable or if there is a demand feature in the loan. Next, there is information on loan payments and the dates that make it considered late and any late fees that may be associated with it. It also includes a discussion on negative amortization. We then move on to see how partial payments are applied, and for a reminder to the consumer that they could lose their property for non-payment. The last two boxes on page 4 explain there is an escrow account, and if it is there, how that account is created and funded. Now let's move on to page 5. At the top of page 5, there is everyone's favorite word problem, the APR. This is all the number one needs to calculate the annual percentage rate and the TIP, the total interest percentage. To get more questions answered or to know where to make a complaint, there's also a reminder for the consumer of where to go on the CFPB's website. The second box outlines if an appraisal was done for the loan, the lender is required at no cost to the consumer to supply a copy at least 3 days before closing. The next box points the consumer to the note to answer questions about default and then discusses foreclosure and state laws. You then have two boxes that discuss refinance and tax deductions. An important source of information for the consumer on page 5 is the contact information section. This is a place where all the supporting players in the closing are mentioned, including the settlement agent, the lender, the mortgage broker, and both consumers and sellers brokers. If any of these areas are NA, then you may find that column has been deleted. At the bottom of page 5 is the signature area. It requires a signature of the applicant, the buyer only, but what is interesting as it is only a confirmation of receipt. It doesn't bind the consumer to anything. At some point in the future, I'm sure we're going to see an additional page added that will require both buyer and seller signatures, authorizing the settlement agent to proceed with the closing and distribute funds. If you haven't already, make sure and subscribe to our YouTube videos so you can catch the entire series as they're created. And as always, everyone at Watson Title Services in North Florida appreciates the time you're taking to get up to speed on the new closing disclosure. And if you have any additional questions or would like a clarification on any of the topics we bring up, please feel free to write us or give us a call. Thank you very much for your time, and have a great and prosperous year.